afternoon and welcome everybody to our Difficult Conversations series. It's a series of those conversations that are obviously difficult to talk about, maybe because of the topic or our family dynamics in the situation. These conversations we're recording and making available so folks can watch them at their own leisure and maybe include their family members or loved ones in these conversations to help facilitate that, and so folks can make better informed choices for proactive aging. And today we have a special guest, Melanie Bjerke. I was practicing too.
Hey, it's fun. It's a fun name to say.
It is fun, and you're a fun gal. And she's from Davenport Place, and you're going to talk to us today about housing and options and what all that means, and when do you start looking? Thanks, Mel, for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Always happy to be here visiting the senior center and supporting you guys as well. Yeah, so a little bit about Davenport Place Assisted Living. We are the only assisted living in Silverton. I'm going to use air quotes and say that we're small in that we have 30 apartments at our community, lots of assisted living, and that level of care. You can see places as small as an adult foster home with 5 people, or really large communities that have multi-level. So we are appropriately sized for the type of town that Silverton is, which is a big draw for people who are from here. They feel right at home at Davenport Place. Really nice community. We have an executive director there. Her name's Tammy. She's phenomenal. She's been there for almost 10 years. She is the mama bear, as I say very fondly, of our community, because she advocates for the residents, and she's 24/7 available for the people that she cares for, staff included. So really fortunate to have her on our team. The assisted living level, we have 30 rooms there, 24 are studios, and then 6 of those rooms are 1 bedrooms. At the assisted living, when folks start having the conversations about if assisted living is appropriate, it's better to be proactive and have the conversation, even if it is difficult, because making the decision because it's an emergency or out of your control is a lot times often harder. We like to see family members making those decisions and having that conversation with their moms and dads or aunt and uncles, whatever the case is, prior. Because when it's somebody who comes directly from a skilled nursing environment or the hospital, then it's more like it happened to them. It doesn't maybe feel like it was something that they planned for, which we're here for all of those needs. But we see a lot of those types of challenges, especially amidst COVID, where folks are saying, well, I'm just going to keep mom or dad at home because I don't know what will happen if I move them into an assisted living or independent living or memory care. What does that look like now? Will I get to see them again? And the answer is yes, you can. We have done an excellent job, which I credit that to our amazing leadership at Davenport Place. We've been COVID-free throughout. We are testing we're testing our employees every month. Residents have just had a big mass test as well, and we've remained COVID-free. So we do porch visits at the community right now where family members can call in and make time to sit with their loved one, practicing social distancing on the front porch. Window visits, of course, are still always okay. And we just do a lot, everything we can to, accommodate a family's need, because that is a concern. We have seen a lot of family members investigating assisted living with some of those concerns. And then when is it time? COVID aside, when should I start looking for my loved one? Well, when you're seeing increased falls, if you are an adult child and you are more worried than you are at peace about your loved one when you're not there, that's a big indicator, because the relationship changes when you go from being a child or a niece or whatever the case is to being in that caregiving mindset. You're not really able to enjoy the relationship in the way that is probably the most healthy and beneficial in the long term. even though we all may be instinctive caregivers to some degree, there comes a point when it's too hard and it can start to take a toll. And we are there to help meet that need in every way, because we know how important family relationships are, and we know how different the dynamics are within that as well. We know that brother Bob and brother Tom may not agree on where mom is supposed to go, and we understand that. So we're just there to try and help, educate people, and really looking for families that are looking for long-term solutions. We want to be the home for the residents in Silverton, Oregon, and the surrounding area that want to have their forever home in Davenport Place.
I have had lots of interactions with your administrator, Tammy, over the years. I think Davenport's a beautiful place. I love that you have the enclosed courtyard. We've done a lot of partnerships with you guys, we've had bingo down there, or line dancing, or music. I think it's a great program, or a great place with great programs. And I know you have some special services that go with it that probably aren't happening right now, but I know you have a beauty shop, and you have the dining room that's beautiful. But you can also, if you choose not to eat with the group, you can eat out in your room. But I suppose right now you're doing just in-room lunch meals right now?
Well, we actually, so because we're all healthy, so we are able to use our dining room, which is really great.
Yeah.
So this is actually a great topic, because we have family members that will call up and say, okay, well, dad doesn't like talking to people. Dad doesn't want to come out of his room. He wants to sit and eat every meal in his room. Well, that's great. Like, he can do that. That's his right. All those things are intact, but we encourage the socialization piece, because usually the way a parent and child's relationship is different than how that parent will be in a setting with us, this new group of people who are helping with care. And if there's any mobility issues, like dad wants to sit in his room because it hurts his knee to use his walker, well, maybe it will help him to remain and retain some mobility if he does use his walker and go to the dining room. Every resident has to have their own separate table now, versus them sitting forward to a table. So we have 2 separate lunch times, or meal times, I should say. So we'll have the first half of residents come in at 11:30 for lunch. And it gives us time to, clear, clean, sanitize, and then do the 12 o'clock service as well. So that's true of all 3 meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And yes, our salon is open. We have some safety rules we have to follow within that, and we're actually looking for a hairdresser. So if you're interested in being a hairdresser at Davenport Place, give us a call. But all of those things are open again, and it has really, you see it lift the spirits of our residents. We have so many amazing people that live there, and I would say like hometown heroes. 9 times out of 10, somebody moves into our community, they know a third of the population there already, because the folks that are in Silverton want to stay there.
That's right.
So it's really endearing to see that. It's sometimes like a high school reunion or an elementary school reunion, and it's really sweet, and it's given families a lot of comfort during this time, because if I can't go visit my mom, how do I know she's going to be okay? Oh, her next door neighbor is her, was a bandmate in high school. Well, hey. So that's something really special and unique about our community, and I think it can really help to solidify that peace of mind when families are thinking about, what should I do next? That could be something that is actually just like that next thing that they needed to, that next message they needed to relay to their parent, for their parent to go, you know what, maybe it will be okay.
Right. Well, and I think that gives back to that whole homey, comfortable feel that you get from Davenport Place. It is like home, and you treat your folks like you would family. And I also love I like to compare it to college, because, in college you go away to a frat house or sorority house or a dorm. You live with other people that you might not know, but you still have your individual space too. And all the social interactions that go with it. And so when you look at that, that can be a really fun time for folks, instead of, looking at the end of life. I look at it as like the beginning of a new area, new life, a new chapter in the book, so to speak.
We do everything we can to help keep that positive mindset in tune with that. We evacuated our community during the fires recently.
Yes. How did that
And
go?
what an amazing testament to our staff. And I'm in a different role. I get to do things like this where I get to talk to the community and I get to talk to hospitals and doctors and get to know people and help people be very informed about what we do. But I'm not like the boots on the ground, so to speak. We have caregivers and med aides, our chef, our housekeeper, maintenance, our nursing folks, our executive director. These are people who are like, some people are made to do this work and some people don't have the same skill set or their talents are in other places. But watching what our team was able to accomplish during the evacuations was nothing short of remarkable. I'm so proud to be part of the team at Davenport Place. And when people ask me, I would feel comfortable having my parents move there someday. They're not ready for that move just yet, but they would be happy. I would feel comforted. And the evacuation was truly, no pun intended, the refiner's fire. And we've got a bunch of diamonds working at Davenport Place.
So where did you end up evacuating to?
So we ended up at a hotel up in Vancouver, Washington, the Heathman Lodge. Amazing. I mean, let me tell you, if you haven't been there, my friends, they took such great care of our staff and residents. They went above and beyond, the extra mile and then some. The chef, we had our food shipped to them, and their chef at the Hudson, this amazing restaurant, prepared the meals, had heated cases for us. We had our own separate wing on a floor together so we could still maintain all of our social distancing. Our residents were sitting in these massive king size beds surrounded by pillows. Unique, you go through these experiences that are scary. It can be scary. We had a fire really close to home.
It was scary.
We evacuated a bunch of non-mobile residents, some of them on hospice.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful time to see and share, and just to see how much love there is between the residents and the staff members. And then this hotel that just was remarkable, and they have an amazing gift shop. So,
well, it was almost like going on a vacation then.
It was.
It wasn't scary, and though it was scary, I'm sure.
As people in this position where we are entrusted to care for seniors, right? It's our job. We set the tone. If I'm going, there's a fire, then that's how everybody around me is going to feel.
You're right. You're so right.
The team did an amazing job, just really putting everybody at ease. Our residents were smiling every day. Their activities continued. They still got to walk and do all those things that they love. And pets were welcome to go. So all of our furry friends got to join us.
And so you do have pets that come live with folks
there? We do, yes. So pets are okay.
Mm-hmm.
We've got cats and dogs right now. We used to have a bird. May have had a fish at one point.
Great. Well, I know Davenport Place is just one of example of an assisted living, and I know there's other levels of care or levels of housing out there. Maybe you could explain that a little bit to us.
Sure. So I guess that the most independent would be independent living. That's just like, for the most part, like they may have an age, like a lowest age cap, like 55 and over. It's just a apartment or cottage community that accommodates that age group. Folks will stay there and people can age in place at independent living communities. And if they get to a place where they need more help and they start seeing some of those signs where maybe they're not taking their medications regularly, or they have a fall, or they have these things that they do need more assistance, then there's a couple avenues they can take. They can either get in-home care, so caregivers to come into their home, or they can go into an assisted living environment. So the next level would be assisted living, which is where we're at. And we accommodate almost everything under the sun short of like nursing. So there's a time when there's like intravenous fluids and certain types of colostomy and colectomy bags that are beyond our skill set at the assisted living level. A lot of folks die in our community, and they'll go to end of life, and they can be on hospice and comfortably never have to move again. So more acute cases would be at those other levels I mentioned, which would be like skilled nursing or an ICF or intermediate care facility. which is like in our minds the old school nursing home,
Yes.
which is a much more hospital-like setting where they are really set up to do more clinical things, which is necessary for the residents that they have there. So there's, you know, skilled, intermediate care, assisted living, and independent living. And then if dementia or Alzheimer's is something that you're looking at, then you can look into the memory care.
So, and you guys are pretty full right now on your.
We have 2 studios available right now. Yep, 2 studios, and there's been definitely a lot of traffic
Yes.
as far as folks looking for places. We've steadily been refilling the building, which is really nice. So we really want people to feel like assisted living can be safe and you can make sure that you're still having those good relationships and communication with your loved one and the staff. And I think that really is the golden ticket here is communication, because the needs haven't changed since COVID started. The need for assisted living has not changed one bit, maybe increased because people are like clinging on to their loved ones at home or trying to help them not have to move because of the fear of the unknown.
Yep.
But there's still a need, and we've seen that uptick in these past couple months where it's folks are understanding that COVID is present and we have to adapt, right?
Yep.
And so being educated and having open dialogue at all times has been like a huge key factor for us.
Yep.
And being compassionate and understanding. And it's okay to be scared and to not know all the answers, and it's okay to call me or to call Tammy or to shoot me a text at 9 o'clock at night because you were just thinking about your mom. Those are things that are so valuable right now, and we're more than happy to accommodate.
You're very accessible. That's very sweet. You know, it does take a special person and a certain type of a soul of a person to work in long-term care or work with seniors as they transition into life.
Yeah, I would say most folks too, like myself included, we have some personal connection to why this is important to us, whether it was the lack of something in this area or an abundance of it, right? So I watched my grandparents go through the continuum of care. So they went from living in an independent community, 55 and older, golf course setting, and then they had some falls, and my grandmother had Alzheimer's, dementia, and she was flooding the house. And then it was like, what are the next steps here? So I, as a granddaughter, watched my mom go through this as an adult child, and she was helping her parents navigate this with her siblings. And it was hard. And my grandfather had one array of all these ailments, broken hips and strokes. And then my grandmother had dementia. So it was like 2 stereotypical scenarios, but happening at the same time. So watching my mom tackle that with her siblings was really like eye-opening. This is before I ever considered working in this industry, but they were my maternal grandparents and very close to me, so I was paying attention to what was going on. So it was really interesting to watch them go through those avenues into assisted living, eventually memory care, and you know, they both passed away in those environments. And the help that you get from that is just monumental. You know, the staff at the assisted living and the memory care, you know, we wouldn't have been able to get through it if we didn't have that support.
And that's truly, I think, one of the more valuable roles that you as a assisted living person, as not just an advocate for the person, your customer, client, resident, loved one, but you also become that family because they've changed. You know, their family can't always be there, and it's not that they don't want to, it's that your loved ones needs have changed, their conditions changed, and sometimes we can't meet all those needs, and it's frustrating, and it's hard, I believe, for families to take that step back and say, I can't do this, I need help.
Right.
And that's where, you know, your different levels of assisted living and your caregivers,
Yes,
you're all trained to be able to step in and help make that a much more pleasant transition.
definitely. And I think that, you know, so we do virtual tours right now. So if anybody watching is interested in learning more about the community, you can give us a call. And we do virtual tours. I'm also happy to meet on our covered front porch.
Sure.
So we can sit and we can talk and you can pick my brain. And, you know, I have a lot of access to information. And even if you just have questions, you can come see me in a no pressure environment. I'm always happy to help somebody in need. We do porch visits. We can walk around the outside of the community. I think it's just helpful. I can even have our staff members come out and meet you, which is usually very helpful because if somebody's looking for their loved one, like who's taking care of mom and dad? Who is that person?
Right.
So I can introduce you to our caregivers and our med aid and the people who are really hands-on, who just work so hard, and they are the people who are loving and caring for and tending to the seniors in this community, and they do such an amazing job. I'm so proud of them.
Yep, that's a true testimony to your business or organization. And you've
Mm-hmm.
had staff that have been there quite a while. Well, Tammy's been the administrator the whole time, hasn't she?
Nearly 10 years.
Yeah,
We have a couple caregivers that have been there for about 3 years. We've got a couple that have been there for 2 years.
that's awesome. Really great. Well, and like you said, you know, we really don't have any other housing options for folks in Silverton. I think there's a few adult foster homes,
Yep.
and those are typically, you know, 5 residents or so in one home with a
Right.
24-hour caregiver.
Yep.
And then with Marquis at Silver Gardens being moved over to Marion Estates, we don't have what you would call a skilled facility,
Right.
which is a facility there for folks who need rehab or therapy
Yep.
to go back to wherever they came from,
Right.
if possible.
Well, yeah, we usually will see folks. So once in a while, we'll have somebody move in directly from the hospital, but it's usually somebody who's at home already and then comes to live with us, or somebody who is at skilled nursing
Mhm.
and they've been there for 2 or 3 weeks ish, depending on what they're recovering from. And then they come to us. And the cool thing is that when the seniors, when they move into our community, all of their therapies can continue at Davenport Place. So we are, you know, skilled nursing, speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, all of those modes can come in and they are able to still come in and help the residents.
That's really cool. And I know you have a bus or a van and you can go out when you were able to go on some outings and
Yep.
lunches out or sort of things and come up here for
Yep.
a few things.
And we still do. So our van still runs right now. And so we still help get residents to and from their doctor's appointments. We try to schedule all the doctor's appointments on Tuesdays, just so Kathy, our life enrichment coordinator, so she can just have one day where she's out doing those things versus 5 days a week. And then we were doing like shopping trips prior to COVID, but she does a lot to help the residents if there's a need. So if a family member isn't able to come take their mom to and from a doctor appointment, which we do allow that right now, as long as everybody practices social distancing. If a family member is not able to, then we are able to meet that need.
And did I hear you say you've had no COVID for outbreaks at all? That's so commendable.
It is
Awesome.
And I tell you what, we've turned people away because they couldn't answer all the questions.
Right. Well, I hope, excuse me, I hope as our seasons change and everything starts turning, that maybe COVID will slow down, but then we're coming into a new flu season. So
Right.
I think we're just going to be trading one for another, but.
And you know what, maybe, just maybe, the precautions we're taking now will help lessen the,
Yes.
extreme circumstances of the flu season.
Right.
I feel like this is a much more cautious flu season than I've ever seen in my life. So
I agree. And I'm sure most of your people do get flu shots just because they have vulnerable population.
We do a flu clinic, flu shot clinic for the staff members where they all can get vaccinated there, or they can go to their doctors, and then all of the residents as well. We hold 2 separate clinics, one for staff and one for residents.
Well, that's awesome. So any other comments or anything you'd like to share today, Mel?
Well, we're here. Again, I really do try to be forthright and transparent about just being available for people. I think that there's a sales side that's my technical role, but
Mhm.
like I said, we want people to move into Davenport Place where that is just something that just really makes sense for the family and everybody feels good about it. So if that's not there, it's okay. I'm still here to help answer questions, and it's genuine. I mean it. Like I said, I've seen this with my grandparents, and I know how important this is. I know it can be scary. I know that we're amidst a pandemic. I think we're all kind of in uncharted waters together, and I think we just
Yeah.
patient and kind and compassionate. So I'm here if anybody has questions ever or needs to call on us for anything.
Well, I know I'm going to be calling on you because you are a Marine. You can't say
Yes.
ex-Marine. I know that. And once a Marine, always a Marine, my brother told me.
Yep.
And I know you're very involved with the veterans and Veterans Affairs. And I know I've been to a couple of presentations and programs you and your predecessor, William, did
Mm-hmm.
for your veteran residents. And I was very, very impressed with the involvement and the acknowledgement that you give those folks. And I am going to have you back to talk about veteran services. Well, thank you, Mel.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here today. Have a great day, everyone.